A very good morning to all our viewers. You've tuned into this live broadcast here on Moneycontrol. You're watching Newspresso with me, Stacy Pereira. And the next few minutes, like the drill goes, we're going to be giving you a lowdown of all the top stories from across the globe, all insights into India, especially today being that D-Day for Chandrayaan. So a lot of hopes riding there. And of course, all the other latest trends that are doing the buzz. So let's get straight to it and bring you all that we're getting from our global dispatch. Now, it was a mixed day on Wall Street, we could say. In that previous session, we did see the S&P 500 fall by about 0.3%, mostly weighed down by the concerns over rising treasury yields. Now, the Dow Jones too slipped by about 174 odd points, while we did see the tech-heavy Nasdaq composite. That one eked out some of the small gains to close in the green. Nvidia, that one which is slated to report its earnings today, has ended the session down by about 2.9%, whereas several regional as well as large banks were the ones that really took a knock after the S&P Global has cut the credit ratings as well as revised its outlook for multiple US banks. Now, they have cited tough operating conditions for the reason for those cuts. Now, the financial sector was the one that took it on the chin, down by about 0.9%, making it the worst performing sector for the S&P 500. In Europe, well, cautious optimism, we could say, across those markets there, with most of the indices closing in the positive in yesterday's session. The Stock 600 index was up by about 1%. All sectors, in fact, were closing higher after technology as well as mining stocks were the one leading the pack, up by about 2.5%. Now, it was French game publisher Ubisoft Entertainment, which rose by about 9% after Microsoft said that it would be divesting several gaming rights to the company as part of their new deal. And we'll be telling you more about that in just a bit. But in other stock-specific action, sportswear shares were the ones that were down and about after US-listed Dick's Sporting Goods cut its annual profit forecast. JD Sports fell by about 6%. Puma was down by 0.9%. Well, on the macro front, we did see British manufacturing output, which dropped by most since September of 2020. This in the last 3 months of August, according to a survey from the Confederation of British Industries. In the Asia-Pacific region, well, markets are starting on a negative note, we could say, as investors are assessing that private business activity survey from Australia as well as Japan. Also, the inflation figures which are coming in from Singapore. Now, Australia, the S&P ASX 200 inched down marginally. Australia's business activity, in fact, has contracted at its fastest pace in the last 19 months. On Japan, the Nikkei 225 has also fallen ahead of its August PMI figures. Hong Kong is also pointing out at a weaker open. And if you look at the GIFT Nifty here for the Indian equities, also showing a muted start. And talking about that big deal, well, Activision is now making these moves to push through that biggest ever video game deal. And for that, what they've gone ahead and done this time around is that Call of Duty maker is going to sell its non-European streaming rights to rival Ubisoft. Now, both Activision as well as Microsoft are trying to get that $69 billion worth deal passed by the British regulators. Now, Microsoft is believed to this new proposal has a substantially different transaction, and that's what they're proposing. The US tech giant expects the review process to be completed before mid-October. Now, the CMA has said that the revised transaction would allow Ubisoft to commercialize these rights to other cloud gaming service providers. This move comes, remember, after the British regulator reopened its investigation into the deal back in July. Now, yesterday, the BRICS leaders have all met to plot the future course of the bloc of all developing nations, and the Brazilian president has gone ahead and expressed his desire of welcoming new members to the BRICS bloc now. But potential enlargement remains up in the air as of now, while Chinese leader Xi Jinping has skipped that BRICS forum despite the presence of the other counterparts. Russian President Putin has attended that BRICS summit virtually, though. Ukraine-Russia war, remember, will be among the topics of discussion at the summit. With the summit, the leaders are also hoping to forge a new grouping, which will also include South Africa, Brazil and India, who into counterweighting the Western dominance of global institutions. So which is why this meeting is going to be quite crucial. Also, PM Modi there participating in that. We are going to see a lot of outcomes from that BRICS summit, and we'll be getting you all those updates. Now, also, let's get you a quick recap of what went down on the Lal Street yesterday. Well, Indian benchmark indices have failed to carry on that previous session's gain that it saw and ended rather on a flat note. We could say stuck in a range for the Nifty as well as the Sensex. Now, the Nifty is in that 19,300 to 19,400 levels, whereas it traded in the green for most part of the session, gaining by just about 2 points by ending the session there. Now, broader indices, those were the ones, the mid-cap and small-cap, both outperforming the benchmarks, you could say, and touching fresh records high in yesterday's session. On the sectoral front, we did see, except for the IT, pharma and PSU banks, all other indices were trading in the green. And among the stocks that you need to be keeping out on your radar, well, we did have BHEL, which hit that 52-week circuit after it saw that 4,000 crore deal win. Also, TCS will be in focus after it got some relief from a US court, whereas we will also see Geo Financial's exclusion from the Nifty that has got postponed and will now be removed from the Nifty index on opening bell of August 29th. Well, now, after all that we've seen happening with tomato prices, there's some new trouble, and this time the centre has imposed a 40% export tax on onions. Now, this is in order to preempt that price surge that we've been seeing, and wholesale traders in markets in Nasik, because of that news, have gone on an indefinite strike. Now, the APMC traders have stopped functioning for the past 2 days, in fact, and they will not be buying from the different buyers of different states. They will not be providing all the procurement that they have. Now, if the strike isn't called off, prices of onions are definitely going to increase. Now, the government has already swung into action, though. The centre has begun procurement of onions at 2,410 per quintal and has also increased that onion buffer to about 5 lakh metric tons from the current year, surpassing the initial procurement target of 3 lakh metric tons. Now, experts believe that onion prices could touch anywhere between 70 to 80 rupees by early September, and anticipating that price rise and fearing this move of that it would go the same way as how tomato prices went, the government has intervened, and on August 19th, they imposed that 40% duty on onion exports, which will last till December 31st. With immediate effect. Now, opposing this is why you're seeing these APMC protests in Lasalgaon in Nasik, which is Asia's largest onion market, that has stopped trading and has called this government's move as anti-farmer. Now, also, let's move on and tell you all that's happening in the National Capital Region. Well, we do have, after hours of Delhi Police Special Commissioner writing to the Chief Secretary there, the state government, recommending that they should declare a government holiday from September 8th to September 10th. This in view of that G20 Summit. The Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has gone ahead and now announced that all government, municipal, corporation as well as private offices and schools in Delhi will remain shut on those days. Now, the final leg of the G20 Summit is scheduled for 9th and 10th of September and will take place at the Bharat Mandapam Convention Centre in Delhi's Pragati Maidan. Now, this is under India's presidency for the first time, and several head of states, diplomats, including US President Joe Biden, Xi Jinping, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, as well as Emmanuel Macron, all of them will be in attendance. Now, the aim is to remove potential traffic congestion as well as logistical challenges that could occur during that time, because you're going to see so many people all together convene in the national capital at the same time. So just to ease out those traffic congestions as well as have a smooth G20 flow is why this step is being taken. So on 8th to 10th of September, Delhi pretty much will come to a standstill except for the G20 Summit. So a lot of action that we need to be looking forward to in the National Capital Region. But the main action today and the star highlight, of course, it is D-Day for India's lunar mission, and ISRO Chief S. Somnath has gone on to say that he's quite confident of a successful soft landing and that the agency has already learned so much from Chandrayaan-2 and that simulation for a hitch-free touchdown. Now, Chandrayaan-3 is expected to execute that critical move when it enters into that final 15-minute, just before touchdown, when it will attempt to make that soft landing on the surface of the moon. Now, this will be to transfer that high-speed horizontal position into a vertical one so that that soft landing takes place. This is going to be that final 15 minutes, which will be key to the mission's success. Now, if Chandrayaan-3 is a success, India will become that fourth country in the world to actually achieve that soft landing, and will actually, that feature has only been achieved by US, China and the erstwhile Soviet Union so far. So it will be interesting to see. But needless to say, the whole world and every Indian is waiting with bated breath for that moment. We will be live streaming that from ISRO as well. That live streaming will begin at 5:45 p.m. today from the channel. We will be getting you all those updates as and when they come. So definitely all of us are standing here with our fingers crossed to see how and eventually whether India manages to do that soft landing on the surface of the moon and what takes us from there. So we are going to be getting you all those updates there. But let's also tell you all the other trends that are doing the rounds. And of course, we have the auspicious occasion of Raksha Bandhan that is coming up. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to have a very special guest this time around, where his Pakistani sister, Qamar Mohsin Sheikh, is all set to visit New Delhi to tie Rakhi to him this time around. Now, Mrs. Sheikh is a woman of Pakistani origin who moved to Ahmedabad after her marriage and has been tying Rakhi to PM Modi over the last 30 years. Now, last year too, she had sent a sacred thread to PM Modi and had wished him for the 2024 general elections. This year, she is hopeful of meeting him in person and celebrating the festival together. She also plans on gifting him a book on agriculture, considering his fondness for reading. So we are going to see at least the Prime Minister have a very blissful Raksha Bandhan this time around. His sister from Pakistani origin actually coming there to tie him that sacred thread. But also, let's tell you something else that is doing a buzz. Now, Master Blaster, cricket legend, Bharat Ratna, yes, I'm talking about Sachin Tendulkar. And this time around, he'll be beginning his new innings, but in the role as a national icon for the Election Commission. Now, the ECI will be signing an MOU with Tendulkar to be the voter awareness ambassador for the next 3 years. The poll body wants to leverage Tendulkar's unparalleled impact on the youth demographic, helping it increase voters for the upcoming 2024 elections. Now, apart from Tendulkar, the ECI has two other national icons as well, actor Pankaj Tripathi as well as Padma Shri awardee activist Dr. Neeru Kumar. Now, back in 2019, they had roped in MS Dhoni, Mary Kom as well as actor Amir Khan as their ambassadors. So with us all gearing up to the 2024 elections, we are seeing a new ambassadors. This time, Sachin Tendulkar is going to be asking you to definitely go out and vote. And also, let's bring you up to speed with some of those updates from the Chess World Cup finals. Well, yesterday, we did see the first game of the FIDE World Cup finals between India's Praggnanandhaa as well as world number one Magnus Carlsen. Now, after 35 moves, the first game ended in a draw. Both the players will be playing game 2 today, and Praggnanandhaa, who has stunned the world by defeating world number 3 Fabiano Caruana, will, in a tiebreaker in the semi-finals, has now gone on to be playing this, and he was quite stunned. In fact, he became the third youngest to qualify for the candidates tournament after the legendary chess player Bobby Fischer as well as Carlsen to actually make it to this position. So all eyes and hopes are also going to be on Praggnanandhaa, wishing him to actually win. He has defeated Magnus Carlsen a couple of times now, so will he be able to do it again? All eyes and hopes are definitely going to be on him. Well, also, let's tell you all that we need to be looking forward to today. Of course, there's a lot, but in markets, well, today we will see, in the primary market side, we will see TVS Supply Chain Solutions Limited, which will be listing on the bourses. The IPO was last week, and it did see a lot of interest. We will also see Jio Financial Services being added to the MSCI Global Standard Index from today. Remember, after that delisting and after the demerger and the listing, we did have the stock Jio Financial Services now, which will be added to that MSCI index. Well, from the courtrooms, we have the Kaveri water sharing dispute, which has seen both Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu knock on the top court's doors. And today, we're going to see Karnataka government convene an all-party meeting to be discussing their next course of action on how they're going to go ahead and release that Kaveri water or not. Remember, this has been a contentious issue between both the states, so we will have to see what really comes off that all-party meeting. And on the global front, let me tell you, we will see the 8 top Republican presidential candidates. They will be taking part in that first of the 2024 primary election cycle debates. Now, all the major Republican candidates, except for Donald Trump, are likely to participate. 8 of them, we are being told. And this will be broadcast on Fox News at 6:30 a.m. India time on Thursday morning. So that is something, if you are keeping your eyes on to the US presidential elections, this is something that you could be looking out for. Well, but that seems like it's a wrap on this dose of Newspresso. Hope it was useful and informative and gave you that kick start to your day. But don't forget to come back tomorrow, same place, same time, for your fresh shot of Newspresso. From all of us that put this show together, thanks so much for tuning in.
How do world leaders view India?
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India is will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
The bright spot of the global economy.
The growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate.
The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it.
On the verge of a big transformation.
इस अमृत काल में हमारे संकल्पों की सिद्धि हमें आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक ले जाएगी.
A magnet for investment.
I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
The world is bullish on India. Moneycontrol is bullish on India. Join the campaign. Tweet to us with hashtag MC Bullish on India.